Om Asatoma Sanjaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrivankapaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, lead us from the unveiled to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Good evening, namaste, everybody. Welcome. My pranams to Riya Annabrahma Mataji, Riya Dhammabrahma Mataji, and congratulations to the wonderful team which has put together this beautiful, beautiful retreat for all of us. We were here actually a few years ago, in 2019, and then COVID happened and we couldn't do this retreat anymore. But as you can see, it's a wonderful location, and it's named so beautifully, Spirit in the Desert. Evocative of the early days of Christianity, when the very sincere seekers, very sincere practitioners, what we call in Sanskrit sadhaka, spiritual seeker, practitioner, they would go out into the deserts of Egypt and spend the rest of their life in prayer, meditation, contemplation, very austere, very deliberative, inward lives. And you feel that in this place. It's a good place for Vedanta. Good place for practice of Advaita Vedanta, for the contribution of Advaita Vedanta. Spirituality, the goal of spirituality, the purpose of spirituality is that there is something by knowing which, attaining which, reaching which, getting which, no matter what language you use, there is some spiritual reality by which one can transcend sorrow and attain fulfillment. That's all that we are trying to do. We are all trying to attain fulfillment. We are all trying to overcome sorrow in our lives. When we talk about God realization, self-realization, enlightenment, somebody might say, that's not my goal. That's not my purpose. It's not something I'm really interested in. I'm interested in a career or raising a family or whatever. But when you think about what we are trying to achieve through money, through knowledge, through power, through popularity, in one of many of all of these ways, what we're trying to achieve is fulfillment. I read the scientist Sean Carroll. He wrote this book, The Big Picture. And I was there in one of those book launches, And I remember reading in that book that people say that the search for happiness is the goal of life. I don't agree. And I was disappointed to read that. He says, the idea there is, no, happiness is not the goal of my life. The goal of my life is knowledge. There is something that I want to know, and I'm going to give up anything in this pursuit of knowledge. Well, that's not a very good argument. One would just as well ask, if you attain to make some progress towards this knowledge that you are seeking in your field, would that make you more fulfilled or less fulfilled? What is it that you're seeking through that knowledge? There's something beyond that knowledge that you're seeking. Where is fulfillment? So beyond seeking fulfillment, happiness, and that's it, what is sukha, ananda, and also the other side, the flip side of the coin is we find to overcome sorrow. That's the side Buddha approached spirituality from. Sarvam dukkha, all is sorrow. And we naturally try to overcome, transcend sorrow. Spirituality of all sorts, in every religion, is a Christian institution, here also, and in every religion, throughout the history of civilization, in every part of the world, at every point in history, Spirituality has given the answer with affirmation that yes, it is possible. This is a very important thing. Especially in this day and age, one large number of people disregard this possibility. Is there a real possibility of overcoming the human condition? Or is it that this is the best? Try to get as good as you can. We'll all embrace humanity. And that's it. That's answer. Lights out. Lots of people believe that. Because they can't take the claims of religion seriously. But spirituality claims that this is possible. By using these two words separately, religion and spirituality, I consider spirituality to be the core of religion. And the heart, the essence of all religions lies. The religion has many other dimensions also. There are social dimensions, there are touristic dimensions, political dimensions, many other things are there. But all religions have their heart. This is the purpose of religion. The core purpose of religion. To take the bridge between the human and the divine. That this is possible. If you reach, you make salvation, moksha, nirvana, satori, many words. Throughout the history of humanity, in different times. If you reach that, the promise is you do overcome suffering. You do attain bliss. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, there is something attaining which nothing greater remains in life to attain. There is something being centered in which even the heaviest of souls cannot shake you. Yang advana dhavara lavam anyate karo adhikam. Gita. Yasmin siddho dukkhe gurunam centered in which the heaviest of souls cannot shake you. Such thing is there. It is not strongest. There is evidence. Evidence is the lives of enlightened people, masters whom we consider saints, spiritual masters, every spiritual tradition. And their lives of evidence that it is true. This is possible. Especially in our day and age, in the last 150 years, one of the most blazing examples of Sri Ramakrishna. I come across many people, not only in our own spiritual tradition, but in other spiritual traditions also, who were inspired, who were encouraged, strengthened in their spiritual quest by reading the story of Ramakrishna. It's such a spiritual tradition, we call it a phenomenon. Such a phenomenon was there in our own time. There are photographs of it. There are accounts by innumerable people. A person who was God enunciated, found whom the greatest reality was God. And that is a promise to all of us that we can all do that. The goal of life, Vedanta says the goal of life is enlightenment. Not just for a few monks, not just for a few saints, for every one of us. Whether we know it or not, whether we are pursuing this or not, whatever we are doing in life, we are moving towards that goal. Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo said, life itself is yoga. Life itself is yoga. Do it knowingly for yourself a spiritual secret. You sign up for a spiritual retreat, you come to the spiritual desert. You're a spiritual seeker, you're a spiritual seeker, you're a spiritual practitioner. All of us are. Those who say, I don't believe that stuff. I believe in money and science and pleasure and power, and I want to be in society or discover new things, all very good things. I don't believe in our spiritual stuff. They are unknowingly yogis. Why unknowingly? They will do it, they sincerely pursue whatever they pursue. They'll get a certain amount of wisdom, a certain amount of understanding. And they come to spiritual life. So, spirituality. Swami Sarvapriyananda, in this country, when he would put out or introduce Vedanta, he would go to the Upanishads and he would listen to each one of the modern this, even the gods who were dwell in higher spheres. I know that infinite being, which is radiant like the sun, and beyond the darkness of suffering, and meditation. By knowing that alone, one goes beyond death. There is no other way. I think this all sums up the whole agenda and purpose and claims of spirituality. That's it. Shrinvan Vishwe Yamitasya Buddha, reason me children of immortal bliss. Aye Raman Hidyan Rasu. If the gods are there in heaven, you also is there. What am I going to say? The secret? Not know the rooms that gods in heaven. Because Swamiji gave us. Vedamam Purushamanda. I realize the infinite being. What is the infinite being? Blazing forth with light. Aditya Vandana. Now it's material light, the light of consciousness. Tamasatvarsa, beyond darkness, beyond the darkness of limitation, beyond the darkness of this eternal cycle, this seeming endless cycle of life and death, beyond the darkness of sorrow and separation and misery and struggle, there is a further shore beyond the ocean of samsara. It is there. By knowing that, the word here is crucial. Knowing that alone, one goes beyond darkness, or the mrityumiti, or transcends death, and all the hosts of suffering and sorrows associated with eternal change, continuous slipping away from our hands, slipping away, and that's what this is for samsara. World and its people and its possessions and its achievements and its experiences are continuously moment to moment slipping away from us. And we guys desperately grab onto people, to popularity, to youth and beauty and strength and health and knowledge and power, position. We start to grab onto that and we are all slipping away off through. Samsara, this is samsara. And therefore we suffer. So this continuous slipping away, there is an end to it. There is a further shore. In Hinduism, Vedanta, the state of samsara is compared to a huge ocean. Bhavasara means the ocean of becoming. Very full. The ocean of becoming, Bhavasagar, and there is a further shore to it. How do you cross this ocean? By knowing that infinite reality. By knowing that infinite reality. One crosses the ocean of death. One attains to immortality. In whichever way you understand it, transcending death. Every religion crosses that. Every. But there is something beyond life and death. And there is no other way. None ever can be I remember this beautiful song by a Bengali poet, spiritual secret poet, where he says, I have come to the shores of this ocean and blinded by the dust of the road of my travels, the path of my travels, I traveled through life, 80 lifetimes. And I come to the shore. And beloved, oh my Lord, will I come, having come here, will I be told that the ferry service is stopped. The boat is not going across anymore. It's too late. Will I be told that it was all false? Then it's not true. God doesn't exist. There is no solution to the problem of sorrow and death and suffering. Will I have to hear this? Or is it true? Isn't true? The heart wants to hear true. Vedanta is this path to immortality, path beyond sorrow. There are different ways of doing it. There are multiple religions, multiple paths. We are going to be talking about one of them. Today, tomorrow, day after, we'll choose in mind. We're going to be talking and practicing and trying to understand one of these paths. It is the path of knowledge, the path of non-Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. How you realize God? How you realize the true nature of the self? How you realize that ultimate reality? There are various formats. Vedanta, the path of knowledge, is a particular format. In order to know what one thing is, it's often useful to distinguish it from what it is not. To quick word of what Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta is not. One way of being spiritual is belief, faith. And remember, when I'm setting aside, I'm not saying they are not true. They are true. They are right. They are beautiful, valid, and they work. But we're going to do one of them in the next few days. So let us understand precisely what is it that they are talking about. So one way of being spiritual is faith, is belief. God exists, God can save us. Faith in God, belief in God, worship of God, love of God. And how will we be saved from our present human condition? How will we achieve fulfillment? How will we go beyond sorrow? By the grace of God. So the onus is on God. One of the great devotees in India, in the devotional tradition, he sings to God that, "O Lord, I have heard that you test your devotees. You test those who seek you. You put them through tests. And in the past, when only they get God realization, they get you. But if money is at home too, I will test you. I will test you because I am such a hopeless case. Don't waste your time trying to test me. I will test you. Can you take me, somebody as hopeless as me, and save me? Take me to your Father. Make me spiritual. Give me God realization." So that's the kind of devotion. That's a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful path. How many of us who are retreat on that path? Focusing on it. But the problem with that is, someone might say that, yeah, but I really don't believe all that stuff. And if you don't believe, then the path of devotion will not start for you. You cannot start on the path of devotion by quoting written documents, reservations, and merits. I want to be spiritual on this side, but let me put my cards on the table. I'm a strict atheist. Whatever you say, I'll say no, I don't believe it. Then you will not suffering. This is not working. We live in a world of lot of skepticism. Somebody said that the world that we live in, there have never been so many non-believers ever in the history of humanity. And non-believers, not only agnostics and atheists, the more it seems, the more wealthy and educated and smart you are, the less likely you are to believe in God. Which is always itself why somebody asked him, you talk about atheists, but only a tiny fraction of the world's population is atheist. And he said, yes, that's true, tiny fraction of the world's population. But he did an example of a poll that was saying of Nobel Prize winners, Nobel laureates. And 80 to 90% of them were either agnostics or atheists. And he said, what's the implication? The smarter you are, the less likely you are to believe in God. So there's this challenge. The death of God. We cannot seriously take these things about God and heaven anymore. Is there any other way? And then comes the other way, the path of meditation, the path of yoga. Vivekananda especially spent in the United States and came more than 100 years ago. He said religion is realization. Religion is not believing something. If God exists, I should be able to see that. That was the young boy in Arizona that becomes Vivekananda, going around 19th century, late 19th century Canada, and asking spiritual teachers and preachers, have you seen God? Not whether God exists. Not whether why should I believe in God? What are the reasons and arguments for existence? No. Have you seen God? Very empirical question on empirical age. And the path of yoga, it is, I'm just using the word yoga, but it is there in all the physical traditions of India, and the heart of all physical traditions in all religions of the world. That kind of meditation of direct realization. Yes, it answers yes. You can experience God. And nobody that is the goal of life, to experience God, to see God. And how do you do that? You will read. It's not a question of faith. It's a question of practice. It's a question of staying in the mind. And I will show you how to sit, how to breathe, and how to turn inwards, how to still the mind, and how you see the reality beyond the mind. There is the yogi, for example, Patanjali yoga. It's an example. There are many such paths. Tantric path, Christian Shaivism, Buddhism, and many paths where control of the mind and practice of certain techniques of meditation will take you to realization. Again, I am not saying that I'm not telling you in that sense. I'm distinguishing the path of knowledge from those paths. So what's the paradigm here? The paradigm, the bhakti path, the devotional path is God exists and we need to have faith in God. If you don't have faith, it will not work. In this mystical path of direct experience through control of the mind, meditative control of the mind, in many traditions, many traditions are there. Here the paradigm is, no, not faith God. Here the paradigm is, the problem is the restlessness of the mind, and the solution is quietening the mind and stilling the mind. In that still and absorbed mind, the truth shines forth. Yoga is a repeat yoga. Yoga is stilling the movement of the mind. What happens when you do that? Then the witness consciousness is appreciated, it's released in its real nature as pure consciousness. If you don't do that, if you don't still the mind, you do not meditate, do not absorb, what happens? Vrittis alupyamita. The mind's vrittis, movements, become identified with as if one with your real nature. And so whatever happens in the mind, there is a flash of anger in your mind. And what do you say? You don't say, I am the pure consciousness witnessing the anger in the mind. No. We say, I am mad at you. I am mad at you. That means I am the mind there. You don't have a mind there. Anger, greed, depression, whatever it is. Whatever the mind shows us, we feel one way. This is one way of becoming spiritual. Stealing the modifications of the mind so the truth beyond the mind becomes clear. As history from this year, this has a problem. With mystical experiences, people have extraordinary experiences. The problem might be a skeptic might say, oh, we don't doubt that you are having a mystical experience. Well, that doesn't mean it's real. It could just be a tumor in your brain or you're having a stroke. There was a very popular talk on TED Talks and all this lady who was very neuroscientist. She had experience of a stroke in the brain and she had an extraordinary experience. But now there is he make it physical. He make it mind-based. You feel one day the universe? We don't doubt the feeling one day the universe. But that does not mean you're 100 in the universe. It just means you're having a stroke. Or you're high. I often joke in Manhattan and Central Park, and there are a lot of people having suturing experience. But it's high. They're on some kind of drug. Or the old argument, old accusation against mystics in all religion, throughout history, in every religion of the world. What happens when somebody says that experience is not? What's the first reaction of people? You're mad. What did you say to Sri Ramakrishna? You're crazy. He's a very smiling priest of Dakshineshwar. Mad. You don't take it serious. Now, and against these facts, different from these facts, alike to them but different from them is the path of mind. I won't distinguish what we will do tomorrow, day after. We are not being asked to be in anything. We talk about Atman, Brahman, Yoga, but not for earthly. This is the path of what one might call experiential knowledge. The path of knowledge, but the moment you say the path of knowledge, the problem with us is, we know what knowledge is. It's what we got in school and college. Not that fact. It's not just reading about making out some notes and then finding your computer reference. Not like that. Rather, that knowledge directly connected God lived experience. Experiential knowledge. Not by the experience, but just pure experience by itself without the knowledge of some more. Why? We see it later. Tomorrow itself we see. The ultimate reality which Vedanta speaks about, Atman, Brahman, whatever it is already need experience. It doesn't go good. It's already here. So we have to be introduced to it. That knowledge which introduces us to an already existing reality. The knowledge that's beyond. I'll make a point here. There is one kind of knowledge which will tell you, say for example, you know about spiritualism, and you go to the website, you visit it, and see the brochure and see. There's one kind of knowledge. You have information, we have information, but until we actually come here, we can't say I'm experiencing it. I have information. So there's one kind of knowledge. So yeah, mostly it's like that. And that happens in spiritual life also. We read about now, heaven, and I like a good God. You worship God, and then you have a vision of God. One day you go to heaven. All that is clear to God and present for us. One day we have it. So there is knowledge, but the experience is still part. Even yogic techniques. So you read books and you attend classes, but none of that is going to do us any good until you actually practice it and get those experiences which are promised. Until those experiences are we get those experiences. Till that time, even the yogic practice is a matter of a lot of knowledge which we are trying to make it experience. But Vedanta is not like that. Jnana Yoga is not like that. Jnana Yoga is a path of knowledge, is an already existing reality which will be played out. So that in the finding out is successful, the result can imagination is immediate. We are not able to see much here, which is always there. Somebody made a website out of it. Never not here. Never not here. What does Vedanta say? Vedanta thinks, yes, in common with all the other spiritual paths, there is an ultimate reality. What is this ultimate reality according to Vedanta? You have heard it again and again. Substate Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. Three, granite three. There is infinite being, infinite consciousness, and infinite fulfillment, limitless fulfillment. Substate Ananda, existence, consciousness, being. Existence, consciousness, bliss. In fact, there is a Christian theology, Orthodox Christian theology, who says this is the highest teaching of all major world religions. Only it is found most clearly in the Vedanta of Hinduism. He has written a book, God as Existence, as Being, Consciousness, Bliss. Looking at Gaily Benji Hart. What are they talking about mobile phones? If we use them for non-facts, they can't speak in silence and attention. Its attention is very important and it's a rare commodity in today's world. There is a phenomenon called intermittent attention. Yes, intermittent attention in a meeting, in a classroom. It's corporate executives, teachers, everybody is what it is. Kids and the people working in offices and organizations. They're looking at their phones and it's not that they're listening to you, they are listening to you. But they're looking at their phones and they're listening to you. And they're looking at their phones and they're listening to you. Your attention wanders in and out. Intermittent attention. Very damaging. Especially for spiritual life. All we have, the most precious currency of our lives is attention. What we are thinking about and how much attention we are putting to what we are thinking about. Two things. What is it that your attention is on? And how much of your attention is on that? Milton, the mind in its own place can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. The mind mindset can transform hell into heaven. And can transform hell into heaven. We see the people all around. Inspiring stories of people who come up from broken homes, with poverty, struggle against so many circumstances, crushing them down, and risen to great heights in different fields of life. We come across, there will be some we hear opposite. And then we come across the opposite. Our kids who are born in the proverbial silver spoon in their mouth, and they ruin their lives through drugs or whatever it is. In mind, it's the crucial is mind. Mind by itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. And one of the factors, not all factors, but one of the crucial factors in the mind making heaven for itself is attention. The quality of our life, and quoting from Yashika, the quality of our life depends on what we attend to and how much attention we give to it. This is a problem in my life. I'm just thinking about that, and all my attention is here, and like I said. In the face of the problem, there's something good and noble in my life. I'm thinking about that, and most of my attention is here. My life becomes here. Well, someone would be this way. And then the original in Hindi translate for you. Very complicated. What you normally see, the wisdom is just the opposite. It goes like this. He said, आप समझते हैं संसार के चलते मन अशांत है, लेकिन मन के अशांति के चलते संसार है. You think because samsara, because the word, my mind is restless. I am so troubled by the word. You don't know my life. Because life, because samsara, my mind is so troubled. It is no. The fact is, it is because your mind is troubled that you have samsara. You are Doctors know this very well. Doctors. Every doctor knows you get thousands and thousands of patients. You always come across these cases where, a minor problem, and the patient is breaking down, is angry, tears, ill. What's wrong inside it? And you also come across patients who have life-threatening conditions and who react with dignity and calmness and strength, so much so that they are the inspiration to the doctors and the hospital staff. What's the difference? The difference is not really the disease and the outward circumstances. The difference is in the mind. One person converted a minor problem to hell. Another person's mind converted a hell into heaven. Increase. So, what we concentrate on and how much attention is very important. Anyway, back to Satchidananda. Today we met the heart of the temple if you're interested. The chapters, names of the chapters in the book are also Satchidananda. And it's the book actually a reply to the atheists. Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, it's a political book. But this consider what means. Vedanta is the highest reality, the ultimate reality, and knowing which we go beyond sorrow, beyond suffering. It is existence, consciousness, bliss. Pure being, limitless existence, limitless consciousness, and it is bliss. What it means is, if you big words, we will see actually what it means. I'm just thinking, if you give me just a couple of years back, the three greatest questions in philosophy. word philosophy, three British questions. There are three branches of philosophy and they answer two questions. First is what is real? And the branch of philosophy which deals into reality is called metaphysics. Another meaning one has is ontology. Ontology means being. So what's real? Are chairs and tables real? Are human beings real? Is God real? Is heaven real? Is matter real? Is mind real? What is real? Metaphysics. That's one. The second branch of philosophy, modern branch of philosophy, is how you know. The moment you say God is real, the question is how you know. This how you know question is answered by a branch of philosophy called epistemology, the study of knowledge. How is knowledge possible? How do you know is the study of knowledge itself. And third, the big question, what's the point of thought? Why? What goodness would I get from this? So that branch of philosophy studies value, good and bad, beautiful and ugly. There were a number of branches of philosophy which used to do that. Aesthetics, ethics. Now they have been clubbed together into a new branch, a new name called axiology. Axiology. It's not a very popular name, but it's useful. It covers, it's an umbrella term, covering many things. The study of values. So keep questions. All of philosophy, the deepest, greatest questions of human, which the ever beings have ever posed. What's real? How do you know anything? And what's the point of it all? And now let the answer to Vedanta. Sat Chit Ananda. What is reality? Sat, being itself. This is your means. How is any mind possible? Chit, consciousness. Then what's the point of life, universe? What's you read it? What's the point? What do we get at the end of it? Answer, Ananda. Or how evident? Here we are doing such things there. It's all very limitless reality, limitless consciousness, limitless fulfillment is there in the reality. And then it goes on to say, and these three are not three, they are one. There is one reality, which is limitless existence, limitless consciousness, and limitless fulfillment. Satchitananda. And it's also claimed even more dramatically. Sorry, that reality, you say, okay, suppose it's there. Where is it? When is it? Where can we find it? The answer is, it's you. Tattva-masi. The central teaching of Vedanta is, you are that. Tattva-masi. You are that Satchitananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. Why is Vedanta? The definition we memorized as monastic novices, students of Vedanta. Vedanta Rama Upanishad. Vedanta is the source of knowledge from the Upanishads. It is something we understood here. We are clear about what I said earlier. What is Vedanta? Is it a technique? No. Is it a practice? You sit like this, you close your eyes like this, you breathe like this? No. Is it a belief system? No. What is Vedanta? The word uses Brahman, source of knowledge. What it means is this. How when you're all there, I know that you're all here. How do I know? With the help of my eyes. This mind with the eyes open reveals the existence of all these people. Forms are revealed by the eyes. How do I see? How do I see? With the help of the eyes. What is the source of visual knowledge? Visual perception. What is the source of that knowledge? Eyes. Of course, the mind plus the eyes. Plus object like for that. But eyes are the special cause of visual knowledge. You're hearing that saying, and it's not really knowledge of speech. What is being uttered here? It's knowledge. How do you get that knowledge? What practice do you have to do? What belief do you have to have? It's all nothing is required. It's me by ears to be working and mind to be attentive. You're learning what you're saying. So the ears are the source of knowledge for audible knowledge. Sound. Ears are the pramana, source of knowledge for sound, speech. Eyes are the pramana for the forms, visual knowledge. Mind plus eyes reveals forms. Mind plus ears reveals speech. Now the question is, mind plus what will be Brahman, the ultimate reality? Self, God, Atman, what? What Brahman? What source of knowledge? And Vedanta claims to be that Brahman. Vedanta says, I am that Brahman, that source of knowledge. Mind plus me. I is not the person. Vedanta. Mind, put Vedanta in your mind, so that Brahman you realize your two natures are Vedanta. That property, I see you are that reality you realize. It's the source of knowledge. Can we put it together what I said earlier? That it's not belief system, it's not technique of meditation, it is the yoga of knowledge, and put it together with this pramana and your source of knowledge. Put it together. What is crucial in Vedanta is not how you sit or breathe, or not what you believe, not what rituals you perform, not you what religion you belong to or not belong to. It's the use of the command, the source of knowledge. How do we use that command, the source of knowledge? 3 steps, 3 components. It's called Shavana, Manana, and Jnana. This is what we use over 3 ways. Hearing, reasoning, meditation. And the classes from 1 onwards will be structured in that way. There will be a component of hearing. There will be a component of discussion. And a component of meditation. So, hearing. That's what the teaching is here. Listen attentively, listen not only with our own ears, mind, no intermittent attention. Therefore, mobile phone off. Phone off. At least for the duration. Yes. I just wanted to say one good way of using this routine. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't say I'm going to be enlightened by the deep morning. It's a beautiful place. It's a quiet place where the vibrations of spirituality, because for many years people have used it for spiritual retreats in different traditions. So first and foremost, rest. People are busy and stressed. So rest. Less organization, more rest. This place is meant for rest. Yeah, so in dinner time you talk with the people and that's also rest, that's also relaxation. But other than stress hardly enjoy it. We have beautiful rooms, very nice view, a quiet place, rest. Then let's be all, let's say, about energy and attention for the class. Listen carefully. The most important component of the 3, listening, reasoning, and meditation. Well, most people are taught by a lack of meditation. I want to do non-dual meditation. Sounds very cool. Nothing much happens to you. Mostly you either learn policy or you should try really hard to get ahead. The most important component is hear. Listen. This is so funny. Something is being pointed out to us. Here we are talking about the highest. This is the Everest peak of the Himalayas. When we become monks, or the vows we take is, Brihat Varimas we are. All heroic ones, speak from now on only about great things. Speak about the past. Speak about the limitless. Speak about God and self and infinity. Do not speak about these petty things. We speak about great things. Nothing greater than nothing greater than the speech, the talk we will have in the next few days. Greater than that is science, and greater than that science is God or Brahman itself. So, the highest, we talk about the highest. How we listen? Buddhist Lama once said, and it seems that in their classes begin to this, the teacher telling them, how do you listen? You don't listen like a leaky pot, upside down pot, dirty pot. So upside down pot, we put water, everything goes up. It just goes upside down and breaks. People ask, so how do you learn wonderful really Vedanta? I don't know all sorts of big things. It's always seen up a big things and we did for weakness. So I have this story. You have the administration and be ready. The part of this very well-known talks on Vedanta. This lady used a front row. A very nice homely sort. She was very dedicated. She taught every class. So after the class, we all said to Swami Sarvapriyananda, oh, very good Swami, very good song, very good song. And Swami then said, asking, so what did you like, you know? And this lady said, okay, Swami, very lovely. I don't love her big reality things. No, that's upside down path. We must not let that. We must think for feeling bored, so though this is an upside down path. One must be able to say afterwards, so this is what he talked about. Second, don't listen like a leechy pot. I got it, but sometimes if you talk about it, then sometimes no water is there. It's all leaked out. You must retain with a ditty, so this is going to hold on. At least the essence. There's a nice phrase used by incorporated takeaway. Not the takeaway too bad. Takeaway from the top, from the conference, or the seminar. Takeaway. Few key parts. In third case, dirty pot. So dirty pot is dirty pot, you put pure water and still be dirty. Because the dirty polluted water. So dirty pot is unconditional agenda. I know I might be that wrong, I will prove you wrong. So don't do that. First, listen. How I learn listening is over? When I can say, this is what they talk about, this is what the book says, they talk about the book a lot. This is what the book says, I know what the book says. Later, listening is complete. I can tell you what was said, listening is complete. What remains? When I didn't tell you what was said. That is very important. That is very, very important. Maybe we will be coming with our own ideas, we go on with our own ideas. If that's being good different source. That will not be. I must enjoy something. Now this is a question. I heard what you said, but I have been questions. I don't get this thing and that thing and that thing. Then we enter into the second phase, which is reason. Question. And we will have some time allocated in each of the classes at the end of the day for questioning. The questions are, if a general question about spiritual life, we them for the evening session. It will have to on and on class. Then, how many know that the reason phase is over? It's what you only want to do. The more you hear, the more you think about it, the more questions will come, and that's good. That's really good. That phase is over when you can say peace to yourself and you can say, I got it, I'm convinced. And so, I get it. I not only know what the teaching is, I understand it too. To the extent that any possible question, I think I have a good answer. At least to me, a satisfaction answer. I have clarity now. That's it. What Ray said. The one I said of me, I have got it now. But it's not a lead reality for me yet. You promised that I will transcend all. I will be the greatest thing that anybody ever got is nothing greater than this to get. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that's it with my sorrows. I don't feel that living this fulfillment you're talking about. So it's not living reality yet for me. To make the living reality what we have heard and what we have our clarity about, we must dwell on that in meditation for a pretty prolonged time. That's called meditation, non-dual meditation, special kind of meditation. Shravana, hearing. Mana, reason. Nidhyasa, not the meditation. A little bit of each, mostly Shravan will do, and Mana and Nidhyasa. Also, it's not something to be done, can be been there, done that, become an addict, dating boy. Yeah, it is the rotate of our life acts. What we live here is part of our own spiritual story. So that is the most precious thing that we have. I admit to being a little biased in favor of Vedanta. Little toward Vedanta. I really haven't come across anything as amazing as Vedanta. For sheer logic, for sheer elegance, for sheer and for the vastness of vision. Oh my God. You are the one limitless existence consciousness space, the very ground of this universe. I already so, and just as you so. You come back out of it. You are God. And it everything else, right? Every did. And it's all here and now. It's not a big post-war for post-modern certain. No, right now. It only want people want it. But starting great. Max Figurezi of many great people. Philosophers, ethnologists, spiritual seekers. They have lauded Vedanta to the skies. Max Figurezi says, there is no religion on earth which is as rational and as fulfilling as the Vedanta system of universal. Comparatively to the great philosopher Schopenhauer, who read a translation of the Upanishads from Sanskrit into Latin, from Sanskrit to Persian to Latin, and he read that. The book was called Upanishad. And he said, I consider no study in the world as beneficial as the study of this Upanishad, except perhaps the originals. If you have heard of it, but he said the Upanishads are perfect. It has been the surveys of my life to give you the surveys of my death. And many people, the most recent ones I heard about, I was reading an article of the written by philosophers on self and no self. There's an article on the self from a Vedanta perspective, self as light, as consciousness. And somebody called Wolfgang Schmidt. And I really loved that. This person's great. But who is this person? I don't know what. And they looked at, oh my God, we get racist, we diagnostic, or beautiful asset. He was this incredible person who, at the age of 18 or 17 or 18, graduated from Harvard University with a double major or anything in mathematics and theoretical physics. Brilliant person, theoretical physicist, worked for NASA, I think a re-entry of space raiders. It depends on the theoretical work that he did. And then he gave and for Christians, both of them. Anyway, listen. So, a whole range of people testify to the amazing nature of the siege, the incredible nature of the siege. I think Dr. Sarvapriyananda calls the tradition of Advaita Vedanta as a best flower of India's philosophy. So this is what we will call Shravana Medikasa. What is, as good as it is, yes. Listen carefully, let us try to feel it, really, of some of it. And one language so beautiful. How do you listen to Vedanta? How do you take Vedanta? Make it living. How do you make it living? He says, bring as a child. What's a nose? What is a nose? What is not there? Not. What's a nose? The child does not say it is the order of respiration and all that. But no, the child says, this is the nose. Show me the nose. In philosophy, this is called an ostensive relation, not a verbal relation. To point out the reality. This is the nose. Use Vedantic teachings in that. What will be here tomorrow, what will be here tomorrow? Use it like that. Not to the nose, the appropriate consciousness. It's like this. It's like this. When we say, Venus is a ham, don't really go to the head and say, hand is that organ, motor organ, by the grasping. No, do this. When I say hand, okay, hand here. When I say the breath, breathe in. Notice the breath in the nostrils. And breathe out. Notice and breath. Thought, nose. When I say mind, when I say mind, notice thoughts, memories, desires. Our first person inner experience. Mind. Inside. And like that, one more step beyond that. We go. The witness of the mind. At every stage must be that nose. At what stage do you say, it's here, it's like as we were talking in the college in Narendra. Do doggies. The first time I had to give a dog a run, unnaturally, they said, Swami, we have a request for you. We didn't accept so many people. So we have divided them into two halls. 601 and 801. And we have thought you were talking one hall, and the other hall you were quick. And they all said, no, we see him on CD. So when they thought of we won't see him live in the past. So what you will do is, you get half the dog here, within half the hand, and there is the other half of the dog there. That's what we did. Design beautifully. You have the top and then we get beginning break, and then I agree with us. Yes. To keep it here. In that question and answer session, apart from mentioning this in question and answer session, a lady in quite indignant to the microphone and said, all is like that's so careful. I said, madam, not one thing I said is dirty. What is dirty? The fact that you are standing there, that there is body, is there. Is the body dirty or is it fact? Is it dirty or fact? He said, the fact. And that you are sitting now, is it dirty or fact? It's a fact. And if you look in the other windows, you have thoughts. We have thoughts now. Guess, are those thoughts clearly on the facts? Is it the fact that you have thought? Like that, from that thought to the witness of that thought, to the conscious experience in that thought, you in that thought, is not here. At one point, there is something here, and that's where we need to bear down and investigate. What is it that knows? It's real. That's why I'm calling it experiential knowledge. And no point will the knowledge we have and only experience we have, no point is the experience. If the experience fades out and only knowledge remains, it becomes spiritual. It becomes metaphysical. Secondly, philosophical speculation, it's not philosophical speculation. That's the secret to making Vedanta living and the shortest way to invest. So, we will see tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsa Shri Ram Krishna Vanastu. That's it. Thank you. And a very